Let's jump right in. We've talked a lot about knowledge graph theory, but today we're actually building one from scratch. In this explainer, we're taking structured biomedical data and wiring it up inside Neo4j. If you've ever wondered how these massive, interconnected systems actually come together behind the scenes, well, you're in the exact right place. Because let's be real, theory is great, but building is always better. Think of this explainer as a hands-on digital workshop. We're going to take massive data ontologies and regular old tabular CSV files, treat them like our raw ingredients, and cook up a seriously powerful graph. By the end of this, you'll see exactly how raw data transforms into a system that can answer some incredibly complex medical questions. So here's our roadmap for today. We're going to look at the knowledge graph pipeline, dive into the biomedical domain and data, then design the graph ontology. After that, we ingest the data into Neo4j, query the network, and wrap up with some LLM-assisted discovery. Let's get to it. Our architectural blueprint here is a 6-step workflow. It's basically an adapted version of the classic CRISP DM model, just tailored for knowledge graphs. It goes like this. 1. Domain understanding. 2. Data understanding. 3. Ontology design. 4. Data ingestion. 5. Querying. And 6. Reasoning. This is our playbook for the whole project. Now, before we get completely lost in the coding weeds, let's look at the high-level mental model. This brilliantly illustrates how it all fits together. You take your structured data, map it into the target schema of your knowledge graph, and then, when a user asks a question, an LLM interprets it, queries the graph, and uses that retrieved data to generate a highly accurate, totally grounded answer. Pretty cool, right? Okay, every great graph has to start with a compelling business problem. For our workshop, we're anchoring ourselves in the clinical biomedical space. The big goal? Helping clinicians diagnose rare diseases. We want to build a graph that connects symptoms, phenotypic features, directly to genes, diseases, and treatments, all in one single queryable network. It's all about helping doctors navigate those really tricky gray areas of diagnosis. To pull this off, we need the right raw ingredients, and we're pulling from some massive public databases here. We're talking protein-protein interaction networks, or PPIs, disease-gene associations, the human phenotype ontology, and HetChiNet, which is just an absolutely fantastic resource for drug interactions. Put together, these sources hold millions of records that map out the crazy complex web of human biology, and we're going to structure it all. But wait, before we start ingesting all that data, we have a major architectural choice to make. RDF or LPG. RDF is the standard web framework. It's great for data exchange, sure, but if you want to represent complex properties on your relationships, you end up using these super clunky workarounds called n-ary relations. Actually, scratch that. We need labeled property graphs, or LPGs. That's Neo4j's native format. It lets us attach rich metadata directly onto the edges connecting our nodes. And for biomedical data, where you absolutely need metadata like the source and date of discovery, LPG is a total no-brainer. Now, what's really interesting here is how an ontology acts as our foundational blueprint. Take a look at how the human phenotype ontology standardizes disease branches. See how diabetes mellitus splits perfectly into subclasses like type 1, type 2, and maturity onset? Having this kind of standard vocabulary is exactly what lets us cleanly map a bunch of messy, heterogeneous data sources into the same universal concepts. All right, let's get our hands dirty with some cipher code. Since ontologies are usually written in RDF, we need to use the Neo Semantics plugin to translate them for our Neo4j database. We just initialize it with this simple command. See that handle vocab URIs set to ignore? That is a super neat trick. It simplifies our data by literally ignoring external namespaces during import, which keeps our local graph nice and clean. I cannot stress this enough. Setting up your graph environment correctly is absolutely vital. Beyond initializing neosemantics, we've got to build cipher constraints and establish indexes for our node IDs. Why? Well, constraints are basically strict rules that ensure no two nodes end up with the exact same ID. Skipping constraints is a classic beginner mistake, and it leads to massive data duplication. It's a mess. Meanwhile, indexes let the database find specific nodes instantly. If you want your queries to run at lightning speed later on, you absolutely need indexes. Okay, environment prepped. Now we actually ingest the ontology. We use this single, elegant cipher command, the neosemantics fetch function, to pull the entire human phenotype ontology straight from its web URL into our Neo4j workspace. Guys, in just seconds, this one line of code processes nearly 1 million structural statements. Boom! The foundational nodes of our biomedical network are officially created. But remember, an ontology is just the framework, right? We still need to populate it with actual patient and disease data. And for importing massive tabular datasets, the load CSV command is going to be your absolute best friend. You just point it to a URL or a local file, tell it what the delimiter is, like a tab in this case, and it just iterates through the file row by row, letting you map all that raw text straight into your graph.
Let's move on and see how this actually builds out row by row. First, we match the specific disease node. Second, we match the phenotype node. And finally, we use merge to draw an explicit typed relationship between them. Now, pay attention here, because this is a crucial best practice. Beginners almost always use create, but that just blindly duplicates data. Merge is way smarter. It creates the relationship if it doesn't exist, but if it's already there, it just leaves it alone.
When you apply those steps to our protein-protein interaction datasets, the true scale of what we're building hits you. 342,354. That is the number of experimentally documented protein interactions that are now live, interconnected, and fully queryable right inside our graph. We literally just transformed a bunch of isolated spreadsheets into this sprawling, multidimensional map of human biology. How cool is that? All right, so we've built the thing. Now we transition from builders to analysts. Because we used a native graph database, we can ask incredibly complex multi-hop questions. Questions that would make a traditional relational database completely choke. For example, what is the absolute shortest biological pathway connecting a specific disease to a specific drug through layers and layers of genes and proteins? To answer that, we turn to Cypher. And the beauty of Cypher is that you literally draw the pattern you want to see. We declare a variable called path and invoke the shortest path function. We're just asking it, hey, find me any connection from a disease node to a drug node. I don't care how many hops are in between, specifically where the disease is type 2 diabetes. Simple, elegant, and incredibly powerful. But querying is really just the tip of the iceberg. We can run advanced graph data science algorithms over the entire network to pull out hidden medical insights. For instance, we could use centrality analysis to find hub proteins, the ones that are highly connected. Those are prime targets for new drugs. Or we could run community detection algorithms, like weakly connected components, to uncover clusters of diseases that frequently co-occur in patients. It's like having a superpower for medical research.
And that brings us to the final and honestly probably the most cutting-edge step of this whole build. We've retrieved these precise, factual pathways from our knowledge graph. Now what do we do with them? We inject them straight into a prompt for a large language model. We pass the structured data over and say, hey, here are the top 5 proteins connecting type 2 diabetes to insulin pathways. Explain the biological significance.
The results are just night and day. Look at the left side. A clinician would normally get this raw, technical JSON output full of nodes, edges, and IDs. It's unreadable. But on the right, because we use the knowledge graph to ground the LLM, we get this beautifully synthesized, highly accurate, human-readable medical narrative. It is literally the ultimate killer combination. The hardcore factual precision of a graph paired with the reasoning and communication skills of an LLM. And there you have it. We just walked through the entire arc. We went from domain understanding to schema design, through data ingestion, querying, and finally LLM interpretation. And you can take this exact same framework and apply it to finance, law, customer data, you name it. But I want to leave you with a bit of a provocative thought before we go. We built all of this using neatly structured CSVs and ontologies. But we all know the vast majority of human knowledge is locked away in raw, unstructured text documents. So how on earth do we extract a graph from that? Well, that is exactly what we're going to tackle in our next explainer. Keep learning, and I'll see you then.